Hey everyone, welcome to SF Garnish Music Production and the Garnish Music Network. My name is Justin Anchetta, and I'm here for the West Coast Wednesdays. We've been talking about the wobble. We've been talking about how to do specific effects production in Ableton Live mostly, but also we teach Logic, Pro Tools, FL Studios, all the different digital audio workstations. Today, we're going to be talking about Ableton Live, but specifically on how to beat map, beat match, talking about BPM linking two computers together that are on the same network, and then also manually doing some linking based on the BPM, right? So we have a Pioneer DJ Serato DDJ SB2 you're seeing over here. This is probably the cheapest on the market if you're just kind of wanting to try out some DJing. It's in that $200 range. There's some limitations on the crossfade. The upgraded models, you can press a button to change how the crossfade reacts, which is a great feature. This one, you actually have to go on the laptop, which is right up here. You don't actually see it. We are running through, let's see, Rhythm. What's it called? Algorithm, and it's called DJ Pro 2. We are doing this because it connects nicely to our Spotify. If you guys are using Rekordbox out there or Serato, a lot of these same techniques apply on how to beat map, beat match to your DAW, and being able to actually take your beats, right? So we just have like a basic kind of extra rhythm here. And then having some post-production effects kind of fade to gray as you see that moving through. And then also beat, repeat. So essentially, those are kind of like the main two that we're going to be talking about today. This is an effect called Effects Will Marshall. I believe it's a free effect on the Ableton.com site if you want to check this out. I often customize this a little bit, changing the dB of specific frequencies, making sure that our, everything's working the way that we want. If you have any questions, please comment. And even if I don't get to them today in this live stream, I will be looking through and I will answer them, within 24 hours. We have our online and in-person classes going on monthly. Every month and a half, we're starting a new session. In September is our next big start of our academy, our 360 plus hour in-studio sessions at Soul Graffiti Studios. So check that out at sf.garnishmusicproduction.com. And we also have the online option and 8 locations worldwide. So if you want in-person classes in LA, Nashville, Florida, New York, Tokyo, even in Europe, there's some locations for you. So thanks to the Garnish Network again for having us out. What we have here, once again, is the Pioneer DJ. And once again, this is the most basic model, but it has all the basic features of your hot cues, your manual loop, your auto loop, some samplers you can actually put in as well. Also, just some basic low and high frequency sweeps, your filter, and then also your EQs of your 2 different tracks. You can also put 4 total through the DJ Pro if you want to, through this deck. And just by pressing your deck 4, you can change deck 3, etc. All right, so what we're going to get into today is BPM matching. In the upper left-hand corner up here, you're going to see this link button. And if you have external computers running Ableton on the same network, when I talk about network, I'm going to go ahead and show you right now. Nesting is our current network that we're live streaming through. And so this main computer is on that. So any computer that wants to link to me needs to be on that specific network as well. Otherwise, it won't link. But it's pretty automatic. It'll show 1 link, 2 link, etc. How many computers are here linked in, and this clock count will start going when it's linked. If you are doing a show, you probably want to bring your own router out to that show so you don't rely on the network of, the wireless network or something that could, mess up your connection. So I often bring my own wireless router out specifically to do this networking if I'm doing two computers. Today, we're just going to be doing manual beat matching with our Serato through DJ Pro, Pioneer DJ. I have a push 2 to my right and the Pioneer DJ to my left. You guys don't see the push 2 and my MPK Mini, Akai MPK Mini. The Akai I'm using for specific changes. You can kind of see it right here, the fade to gray I have set up. I beat mapped that by Command M and then clicking on that. And then also beat masher over here. I'll probably do a few more with like the reverb and delay by the end of the session. I also have some presets as well that all of my all tracks, which is nicely organized here in this group, is then being sent to audio effects all, which is this. And this is in mode, okay, which changes the color of it. And this allows it to be post effect, so that if I'm playing this loop and I click on this 4-bar fade to gray, my hands are free and it does that for me. At the very end of that 4 bars, it goes back, right? So this is automations within this specific scene that we have right here. So let's go ahead and just look at this automation briefly. Effects Will Marshall. And we have the opposite, right? So if I bring this out, we kind of see. So this is off to on, it says. It's kind of small for you guys. But I named this off to on, meaning it's fading out. And then this is on to off. Fading in now, right? And it comes in full. I also have this pump. Just adds in a little bit more pump, and it's kind of like a compression and limiter and pushing the low end a little bit. There you go. So you guys aren't seeing that because I have the big old thing in front of it. There, we have it for you. So as you can see, this coming up, right? So I automated this, and notice how it drops right here, right before the down. If you put this all the way up to the very end, it's just gonna stay on after it turns off. You really wanna make sure it turns off at the end of your automations, okay? So once again, we're watching the automations and listening to it on this beat. And 1. Okay, if I zoom in here, you're gonna understand what I'm talking about. Notice how it's dropping off before the downbeat, okay? If it, like I said, if it goes all the way through, then you won't, it'll stay on, the fade to gray will stay on through after the phrase, and you want it to hit back in when you want it to be hit. Every off one, I purposely have this turned off here, right? So it's making sure all the effects are dropped off on purpose. I am noticing that, actually, yeah, this is all off. Well, fade to gray is a little bit on there. Cool. All right, so if we want to just fade that out to end it, I can manually do that with my MPK Mini and then press the stop button. And then bring that back to normal. Okay, so this is just one loop that's pre-looped at 100 BPM. We think that that's a good tempo for that. So we could actually automate this to play this at 100 BPM. But I think that this beat can probably sound good all the way down to 85 and up to probably 115 BPM, right? So it can be used for many different overlaid tracks. So right here in the naming, I'll just say, this is just, actually, this actually has multiple beats here. This is Mona 100 BPM-ish. And I say ish because, like I said, it could be between 85 to 115 probably to match. Now, we were just listening to this one track right here, the ones that are engaged. I'm going to select those by pressing the Command button and highlighting them, and then Command D, and I can drop them down. Okay, so we just have those two. Now, here's one way that you can take a track that you like. This is the a chorus part of a song that I liked, and I threw it in to Ableton, recorded the section of it, beat mapped it, and it sounds good around 100 BPM. And I made sure that it starts on the downbeat. And then I played the bass, played some guitar, and some chord with it. So let's go ahead and just listen to this for a second. And we're going to practice by fading in, right, from nothing. I'm going to use the push to engage this one. Right. Volume control. So as you can see, there's a lot more layers than this is the original. And then we've added quite a bit of percussion along with this track. So essentially, this is the DJing within Ableton, right? This is your sample track right here. You can have all of them listed down, making sure that they're all in this location, right? Which is like in the off section, right? And when you get down to here, if I put one down below in this section, right? When I click on this full scene to engage, watch what happens. Right? It's going to engage this effect at the same time. You can actually do that on purpose, but essentially you want to have this completely free in all of your effects here. And what I also like to do is have a direct link to these effects via my MPK Mini. So it's really easy to get to throwing these when I want to. Essentially, to do that, we just highlight Command M, which is now this blue mode is MIDI mapping mode. And I'm going to click on one of the buttons, a scene here that says bar, right here, the one that my pointer is on. I click in on that. And pad 1, okay, is there. Pad 2 for the next one. Pad 3. And pad 4. And actually, let's just go ahead and put pad 8 over here for that pump. And then press Command M again. So now when I'm playing my track, instead of having to use my mouse, it's more on my instrument, right? Which is the Akai MPK Mini to my right. Once again, I'm using the push to and right in front of me. It's right down here. I wish I had a little more cameras. The Akai MPK Mini to my right, and the Pioneer DDJ SB2 for mixing in other songs. Okay, which is, we're going to get into that in just a second. So let's go ahead and play from here. And just to try one of these pads out. And going into pump mode, which is something that you can actually do to increase the energy at some point. And then instantly you can kind of go off as well. Let's do an off. Let's see, this one right here will be off. Pad 7. Notice that there's note names here. So you really want to make sure that these note names, you know, are not in the center of your keyboard, ideally. So you might want to program your Akai MPK Mini to be super high or super low on your keyboard. Like B7 might be better than B1 or A#1. So it's just showing me that if I played on a keyboard, I might accidentally play these notes, right? If I had a MIDI keyboard in front of me. You can also put it to a different program channel. program select, which also is another way to stay clear of accidentally pressing those and engaging those. All right, so here we are. We talked about rhythm, right? We're at 100 BPM. And we want to talk about key as well, because if you have two different samples going on in the wrong key, it's going to get really cluttered sounding. But if it's in the same key, it's going to sound a little bit better. Let's go over here to the DJ deck. And just a heads up how I'm doing this today. And this can always vary, but I have my headphones for doing this live stream. I can hear what you guys hear, right? Which is the mix of Ableton. I can also hear when this comes over to in the on mode, right? Right. I can hear what you guys hear. However, even in the off mode, I have it out on the left-hand side of the DDJ SB2, which is your headphone out. Let me plug that in right now so that I can have this superhuman power. And I encourage you to make sure that you have something like this for your live set, is a way to hear your samples before you play them so that you can know, you're like, okay, this is the right key. This is the right way of doing it, because you want to change your filter, right? Maybe it's a little bit too much to come in with all your lows right away. So you set your filter, right, to be a little bit more on the high sounding, and then slowly drop that in, right? Okay. So this is a little Misiku Scott Nice track. And then this is at 100 BPM. Now what I did as well is the original track, I believe, is in G major. And this is where music theory really helps in, you guys, is to know some instrument, whether it be piano or whatever instrument you play. For me, it's guitar. I'm a guitarist. So what I did is I wanted to know which key this Mona track was on, because I actually didn't put that into my notes on Ableton, right? So this is what I would suggest you doing, or getting an app. They have apps that like tell you the key as well, which Algorithm does that for you, the DJ Pro. So the one that's in here, the Mona that's sampled, I would essentially just find out which key by playing along. Yep. Okay, so my guitar's a little flat here, but essentially A major, okay? So Scott Nice's track is in G major. If I played these two tracks together at the same time, oh, my stand almost fell there. If I played these tracks at the same time, the G major and the A major would conflict, especially because they are seconds, right? Just they're right next to each other. If it's like a 1 and a 5 chord, like a C and a G, that may work for you. Or if it's a relative minor, right? If I'm in G major and I do E minor, right? Or C major, the relative minor of A minor. So once again, the theory of this and understanding this theory really helps out with DJing, with writing and producing in Ableton, Logic, Pro Tools, etc. Part of our program at Garnish is music theory. That's a big part of it. So we will be going through, you know, how to not only beat map, but also key map, right? Is match, key match. So once again, I've just found out that this Mona track is in A major. So I should probably put that note in, right? Instead of Mona, I'll be like, okay, A major. And just to make it really clear, right? A could totally work, but Mona A major. And I'm just going to go ahead and make that on all of them by just going Command D all the way down, duplicating them. So now that I'm in A major, on my deck over here, okay, up above on my computer, which is another reason why I need to get another camera so you guys see this, Algorithm, the DJ Pro, is telling me that Misiku, Scott Nice's track, is in G major. So I come up here and I change the key just by clicking key and changing it up 2 steps to A major to match in. So let's just try this out a little bit. We can try and do just a master fader. Actually, you know what? I'll kind of bring this down. I'll do my fade in, fade to gray. All right. So let's go ahead and start this track two different ways, right? You can either start with your Serato DDJ SP2 over here and switch between your DJ tracks right over here. And then add in your Ableton. Or you can start with Ableton and then add in one of your decks on this side. Or maybe both of them, right? By adding in your fader right in the center here. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with Misiku over here, Scott Nice's track. And one thing that I did with the hot cue is I had the hot cue start right on the downbeat. And the reason why I would do that, right, is that I can be able to actually start that and put that in rhythm right away with the other tracks on Ableton. Okay, so hot cues is definitely for that. And you can also scratch in, right? So hot cues on multiple areas might actually be nice, right? So I'll actually do a few different downbeats. I'm going to do a few more hot cues here. Just finding them out. This is something that I would do in my headphone. I would turn this way. And then I'm hearing it in my left ear through my headphone out, right? So this is a way that you can put your hotkeys in and no one hears it. I'm going to let you guys hear this. So I'm going to keep it on this side, right? So I'm going to just find, this is what's happening behind the scenes a little bit when you're doing a track. So I'm getting these tracks right here. So now I just have these four. All right. Anytime somebody calls my phone, I even put it in airplane mode and it still goes to that section. Sorry about that, guys. So here we are. So I just did a few hotkeys. So all of a sudden, you can kind of get your own little mix. And this is where you can start recording this into Ableton as another option to make your own beats from another track. Okay, so let's go ahead and start this. I'm going to just go ahead and start on the downbeat and press play. And then over here on my push 2, I'm going to hit right on the downbeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fading into gray. If something's feeling a little bit too much, right, in the way, you can put your filter, right? 2 vocalists, you don't want that, so you can fade that out and let one come in, right? Noticing that there's 2 vocalists going on, you can take out the vocals on this one and let this back up. Right? We have different chords going on, so let's go ahead and take the guitar out and let the beats just support each other here. Putting beat repeat on. Fade to gray. All right, so I see another track here that's already in A major, 100 BPM. I'm gonna bring that to my other deck. Now, second shake. All right. So we notice how our 100 BPM, I'm gonna go ahead and pause this for a second so I can talk over this. All right, just take out some of the highs, or go to the highs. All right, so notice how we switched over to this other song, Awa, by Habib. Let's see, how do you say her name? Galbi, Habib Galbi. And this is in A major, okay, same key, same BPM, 100 BPM. This is the easiest type of transition, right? It's matched up. I didn't even have to change anything on Ableton because it's at 100 BPM, right? So this is actually a moment where it's a pretty easy transition. If we have now something we want to ramp up our energy, you know, that might be we go from 100 to 115 BPM, for example. A really good dance beat might be at 132 BPM, or you divide it in half, right? You're adding up energy, 132, and then you drop to like 75, 85 BPM, right? And it actually increases the energy, feeling like you're at 140, 150 BPM, 160, 170 BPM, right? The double time of that. So doing the math really helps out, right? Double time, cut time on your tracks. So let's go ahead and play this a little bit. We're going to just try and do one transition with inside the Serato DDJ going through DJ Pro 2. And we're going to go to a new BPM, and we're going to do a transition doing the same beat now in Ableton over something new and seeing if that works out. We might get into a conflict of feel, and this is where you want to get your grooves on, right? Changing your feel of a drum track, right? How much swing is on your beat. And this is something that you might want to pre-program, is to have all of your scenes set up with different feels, right? This is completely straight. And then down below, you might want to change the feel to be 14% swung, which is kind of like a little more backbeat. It's a feel that I personally like, 14%. 100% would be completely triplet pattern. All right, so let's go ahead and play this track a little bit. 100 BPM. All right, so I'm hearing this side over here already playing, so I'm starting to do my beat mapping, you know, without the crowd hearing it. This is a moment where we want to go up to 110 BPM. I'm doing a key lock so it doesn't change keys. All right. So now I've beat synced it over here, right? I put my hot cue, right? I found it out where that downbeat is. And I'm sliding over slowly so you guys can start hearing it. So now we're at 110 BPM, right? Okay, so we increased at a key lock, so it didn't change keys on us, and brought it to 110 on the left deck. And the right deck here, deck 2, we're now, the track is 110. It is key of A, so that was kind of simple as well. Same key. And now we want to increase our BPM on Ableton, right? So I'm turning my knob on the push 2 to 110 BPM. Okay. And clicked on the downbeat. And instantly, right? I'm gonna go ahead and stop one side so you guys can hear what's going on here. Right, so our Ableton is playing the same beat at 110 BPM, matching our new song. So essentially, this drum beat on percussion, I can put over anything. It's going to sound pretty good. You're going to want to try and make, let's turn this down a little bit so I can not yell over this. Right, so you're going to want to make different tracks that sound good over other stuff, right? Let's go ahead and just look at what was created here a little bit. Let's go ahead and change this view. There we go. So you guys can see here that this MIDI down here is the track that was created. I'm going to go ahead and fold it by pressing the fold function, and it just makes it a little bit cleaner, right? It's only showing the notes that were played, right? So this is an essentially just a beat on the upbeat. And this is something that easily goes with a lot of different styles of music. Learning MIDI and how it looks is super helpful, right? If you did this on a kit, and the kick was on the off and like this, it might be super busy and it might not sound good. A kick and snare drums, right, to beef up a beat. Let's actually try and do that, right? Let's go ahead and put something new in, okay? We're going to start from scratch here so you guys can kind of see the process of this. So I'm going to go Command-Shift-T after clicking on this, so my MIDI track comes right next to my other drum rack. And you know what I need to do is bring in my other second window over here. All right, so you guys can see all of my effects. Okay, so I'm going to switch screens here for a second. Didn't really change too much on your side, but the big difference is you're seeing this over here now, right? Which you can open up all of your effects and also your instruments. I'm going to go to my drums, or I can even go to my custom drums collection, which are things that I've already know that I like. And let's just go ahead and listen to some of these. Now, if you're at a live show, this listening, this little blue function, which needs to be on for you to, you know, listen to stuff like this. Okay, the reason why you're not actually hearing this right now is I'm going to tab over because I'm on Q out 3. Okay, this is actually how I would do it at a live show, is I can sample stuff before bringing it and dropping it in, right? Same thing with your DJ set system over here, is first listen in your headphones, then throw it out there. You can do it blind if you already know the sample and you know where you're going with it, but it's nice to have a little bit of improvisation, you know, as an instrument, and like have some fun checking something out and then throw it in there with whatever effect that you have planned. So for now, I'm going to make this out, instead of Q out 3, which is currently set to, I'm going to say Q out 1, 2, which is our main. so that when I play this, you guys will also hear it. All right. Some of these don't have sample demos. Some do. Pretty big beat, right? Let's try out that one. So I don't know where this is going, but that's part of the music. Fun, right? And let's go ahead and minimize this just a tad bit so you guys can see all of what we're doing here in Ableton. There we go. Okay, so what we have down here in the bottom left-hand area of Ableton is our Alley kit that we just brought in. It's in record mode, right? Record mode is here. And what we want to do now is play it. I love playing it on my Push 2, but I could also play it with a Akai MPK Mini, any MIDI device. You could also just, you know, click on the track, you know, double click and make a MIDI template yourself. Okay. That's another option, is making a MIDI template. Let's go ahead and show that. So here's your kick on the down, snare 2, and a hi-hat closed. Let's go ahead and just do 2 of these on the offs. All right, let's just see how this sounds. Let's play this on its own. If you want to play it on your own, this is the master channel. I'm going to press stop all. Okay, all of these clips that we're about to engage play, everything's going to stop. So when I play this one on its own, it plays on its own. Notice how that double was happening because our beat repeat was on. I'm going to take it off fold so I can see the other. And this is such a short loop. Let's double this loop. I'm pressing double loop, or you can also click on the top and go Command D and it duplicates. I'm going to put a little bit more hi-hat in here. Now there's let's see, there's a open hi-hat, closed hi-hat, closed, a different version here. It's a little bit strong. I can bring that back, right? The velocity is down here. All right, so we have a beat here that's kind of basic. Let's go ahead and try and get this in with our track. Now notice down here, I already have this on a downbeat. So I know if I play this and hit it right on the downbeat, it's gonna be in that same rhythm. I'll bring this down in volume. I think it's peaking the system a little bit. So let's try this out again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Beat, repeat. Fade to gray is great, right? When it breaks out over here, you can easily take it out nice and good. On your DJ Pro, looking at the waveform, making sure you see where it's coming back in. If you want more energy sooner, you can actually start fading yours in sooner, right? right? So I'm getting kind of tired of that beat. I can go ahead and take that one out. Go ahead and stop this. My play button is still enabled here because I want to keep it beat synced and go back to my other percussion. Now we also have these operator fade up that I created, a white noise. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a lot higher in the pitch in the mix, so I'm going to bring that back. Let's say you want some more beef on that. Put some drum bus. Changing up the frequency of, depending on the key you're in, right? You want to change that frequency of that low. All right, this right here is a delay. I just brought in deck 2. Now this is in the key of D, a little bit different key. It's faded out, right? Such a lower part of the song. Let's go ahead and get this going over here. More chill track. So I'm going to go ahead and take my beat out. It's nice to have some quick stop functions. The push 2 is a great spot for that, right? So this one I did stop all, and I want to start over again and really make sure that this is connected to the new track. This is at 110 BPM. I noticed this because up on my computer, it's DJ Pro is telling me it's 110. Sometimes it could be off a little bit. You can't always trust it, but the key, D major, 110, essentially that tempo. I have my key lock on both deck 1 and 2, and I'm going to go ahead and increase this in tempo again. Increasing the energy a little bit to 120. Now, if you can't get it very precise with this over here, you can actually just type in 120 BPM to get the exact tempo. Okay. So now we're exactly 120 BPM. Changing my metronome over here to match. Let's go ahead and make sure you guys see what's going on here. It's changing the entire grid of the arrangement, but 120 BPM. I'm going to start with just the percussion track. So on this grid up here, the little outlined orange, it's showing me where my push 2 is seen. Something that I also like is to put in this sweep up. I'll bring it a little bit louder, put some reverb on it. But I'm going to actually make a hotkey for this. So MIDI mapping, Command M, pad 6 on my MPK Mini. 2, 3, 4. So this beat actually wants to kind of like double time. So this isn't the right beat for this. We can go ahead and make our own now. It's actually 4 on the floor kind of beat. Let's just see if that helps. There we go. So essentially we are beat mapping both sides, our deck over here, to our own effects tracks in Ableton. And this is manually, right? The link is not being used. This is all through hitting the down function. Practicing when you hit the down right on the beat. I'm now going up to songs at 120 BPM because I kind of want to keep the energy going up. I also want to do relative keys. So G, so we're in the key of D right now, and I want to make sure that I get something that might be relative. So D, E, F, G, right? G might be a good one to go to. A fourth can also be a fifth down, right? It's relative. So let's do something at 120 BPM, G major. Oh, you know what? This Rodrigo Gabriela, that could be a fun one. We'll do this one, right? MB3. Flying a little blind here, but this is how we learn new songs, right? Moving up to the main beat. So that one had, noticing how my downbeat that I created actually wasn't a big beat. I also noticed that it wasn't exactly on, so I can easily fade out and stop the track of Ableton in that moment, right? If something's happening like this where it's not enough energy, you can literally go ahead and jump in higher in this track, and it should go right in tempo. It's definitely a track that I'm not interested in playing too much, so let's go ahead and go to Rodrigo Gabriela. Here we go. Now, that track of Highway Endless that we just played, we can actually use that to do a little bit of scratching. Okay, so I can bring this over to the center. I'm going to get my filter up high a little bit over here. Key lock is off. Right? So you can start doing your scratching just by bringing that over just a little bit, maybe in the center. Obviously doing it the similar key is really going to help out a little bit too. All right, so doing a little fade out. On this side, a little bit of effects on that wah, 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 wah. And so a couple different tricks of using the 2 decks here, key lock on or off. The key lock helps out to make sure if it's in key lock, when you change the tempo, it will stay in the original key. If key lock is off, then you can actually change the key, which is actually kind of cool. It's just going to be going up, ramping up through your sense. Once again, if you guys have any questions, please let us know. You can email us at sf@garnishmusicproduction.com. And our telephone number is 510-463-4769. My name is Justin with SF Garnish Location. We have Garnish Music located at 8 locations worldwide. Thank you to the Garnish Network for inviting us out weekly Wednesdays from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Today, we've been talking about beat matching and how to do that within the box of Ableton and bringing in some external hardware such as Serato and DJ Pro, which is what we're using today. This is the DJ Pro that we're looking at right over here. And we're looking at DDJ SB2 Pioneer DJ. Going through the software up above, you guys aren't seeing it, but it's DJ Pro. It allows us to mix our own music within iTunes or our computer or Spotify, which is a kind of a helpful thing if somebody's out there like, hey, can you do a rendition of a song? And with what we just taught you today is yes, you can. You can actually bring it up through Spotify, download it onto your computer, and then bring in your Ableton tricks, right? Knowing the key, the BPM. It's really nice to have a little keyboard right in front of you, like the Akai MPK Mini, and having it to where, let's go ahead and put this in this other view. So if I have the MPK Mini right in front of me, let's do this as the last bit today, which is Command-Shift-T. I'll make a new track. It's going to be a piano track that I'll just create so that we can, let's go to keys. Right, I like that sound right there. And I'm going to drop it into my MIDI track. And if I'm playing along to a song, this is important to know the key, right? So if I start playing on this little keyboard in front of me, the MPK Mini, I'm going to start knowing the key I'm in because I know how many sharps and flats and where the root, the tonic is, right? Where the fifth is, where the melodic minor can actually create some different tones. So this is what you want to learn in music theory. Even if you're just DJing, it's really going to help you in this fashion of setting up your Ableton set, setting up your DJ set over here. Obviously, DJs have a lot of help from AI, right? Where it's like, it tells you the key, it tells you the BPM. But I really appreciate kind of being able to figure stuff out as well as we go. So going back in, let's just play this really quick. Go ahead and pick that one off. We're at 120 BPM. I'm going to drop this down slowly. Right. That's a pretty fast drop, but at least it's not as fast as just typing the number in. Right. And now, so right away, I mean, I already kind of did this earlier, so I know it's in A major. But I'm noticing on the keyboard, the C sharp, the F sharp, and the G sharp, right? So that's my cue, right? Because I know, okay, 3 sharps, A major, right? If I go to G major, right? The F sharp, 1 sharp, okay? C major, no sharps. So that's how you start understanding the key that you're in. It's like, how can you lead over this? And let's say audio 2, right? You can do external out, and you can essentially put this into 3 out, something that you're not sending out to your crowd, but sending into your headphones, okay? And this is where you want to get an audio interface that has more than just a 1-2 out. Having a 3-4 out, super helpful. I have the XR 18 and the X32 rack. This X32 rack for today, it has 32 in, 32 out capability. which is kind of what you're seeing here is like all the options. The reason why it's not showing anything above 16 is because in configurations, outputs, right? I've chosen to not even go higher than this because it's just unnecessary. Okay. So I hope you guys learned something today in the DJ realm and learning some manual looping techniques. A lot of the techniques of how to press play, that's also coming from looping background, right? Being able to hit something right on the down and right on the off again in tempo so that you can make really succinct loops. When you do loops within Ableton, you can beat map it to the quarter or bar, right? Which is kind of up here, right? It's set to the bar so that when your loop turns on and off in scenes, it will be in tempo. If you ever do live effects and looping, you're going to want to change your buffer latency to 128 samples. When you're doing mixing, you want to go up to 512 or even 1024, right? 1024. So just a couple things to look out for in your preferences and what you're working on, whether it be post-production or you're doing a live show. The live show is going to be the lower latency sample rate. And you're going to notice that the CPU usage in the upper right-hand corner will be affected by what your sample rate is, right? So a couple things to be aware of when you're out there in the world. And thanks again for tuning in. For all of you out there, my name is Justin Anchetta from SF Garnish Music Production. Grateful to be here with you guys every Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. We have a really special guest coming really soon, Christian Sharp. He is one of our newest teachers based in the UK. He's an amazing producer, performer, and drummer. And we'll be doing some features of his videos and his techniques in the near future. So stay tuned. Please like and subscribe. We're going live on our Facebook, our Twitch, our YouTube, and we'll see you again really soon. Have a great day.